Hi, I'm Louisa Els, Professor of Obesity at Leeds Beckett University's Obesity Institute. I'd like to spend the next 5 minutes just sharing with you why I'm absolutely passionate about changing the way we talk and also think about childhood obesity. Let's take a look at these two young people. What might they have in common? What differences do you notice? I can tell you that they both share one thing in common, and that is they both live with a chronic disease. So Gemma here lives with asthma and Nazia lives with obesity. The only difference is that Nazia can't decide to hide her label. She has to wear her label every single day. Now, even though each of these diseases can be modified by lifestyle changes, it's only Nazia who is judged by the way she lives her life. Just because we all know Nazia lives with obesity, does that give us the right to cast judgment and blame? Absolutely not. Therefore, do you think headlines such as these are acceptable? Why I refuse to let my daughter be taught by a fat teacher. Heffalump traps will clear the NHS of fatties, the impact of which we know can be hugely damaging. However, unfortunately, this stigma isn't just limited to what we see and hear in the media. Sadly, it also occurs across society, from members of the public, within our schools, our friendship networks, even our families, even the very healthcare professionals who are here to help, can hold stigmatizing and misinformed attitudes towards people living with obesity. And this is illustrated in this quote from a Bristol study undertaken a few years ago, where a mum recalls a recent GP appointment with her daughter, where he, the GP, said in front of her daughter, "God, she's obese. How on earth did you let her get that size? You know, you've just simply got to cut down. You're giving her the wrong foods. Do you realise how much of a health issue this is? You know, she shouldn't be that size." I'd like to ask you, do you think this parent would have received the same stigmatising and judgmental response if this lady had taken her daughter to the same GP because she was suffering from asthma triggered by the severe damp in their house? However, as I mentioned, this was an old study published back in 2012, well over a decade ago now, so plenty of time for attitudes to have changed, right? Sadly not. This article was published just last year in nhsmanagers.net, where the authors posed this question: is overweight and obesity always just because of eating too much or taking insufficient exercise? Which they responded with, the answer is almost always yes. Whereas we know the correct answer is almost always no. We know that obesity is a highly complex chronic disease with over 100 different determinants, many of which are completely out of our individual control. And we know the impact of such stigmatization can be hugely damaging, as we know that weight stigma is associated with numerous physical and psychological harms which can impact health and well-being, lead to healthcare avoidance, and widen inequalities. And we know that weight-related bullying and increased stigma associated with paediatric obesity can lead to this vicious circle of poor self-esteem, depressive disorders, impaired school performance, decreased social involvement, which in turn can lead to an increased risk of disordered eating and unhealthy weight control behaviours, which we know can then lead to further weight gain. This vicious cycle, this negative feedback loop, has got to stop. So this is why we have been working with this group of fantastic families over the summer to co-design a short film and teaching resource pack to address weight-related bullying in primary school children. Our key message is no matter what your shape or size, everybody deserves kindness. This should be available early in the new year and will be free for everybody to use and access. And we're also hoping to undertake a secondary school age film in the new year. So I'd just like to finish by reiterating that childhood obesity is a complex chronic disease. It is not a lifestyle choice. No child chooses to live with obesity. Therefore, these children and their families require compassionate, non-stigmatizing, non-judgmental, person-centered care. Thank you.